What's up, streets? Welcome to Japan. It's great to have you here.
Hey JB, thanks for letting me crash in your place. When will you get back? I wanna see your car, man.
I know I said you could drive my car while you're here, but I sold them early.
What? Why?
Listen, there's a shoebox in the garage with enough cash for a used car.
I don't like where this is going, JB.
Look, I gotta go. I'll see you around.
Wait, JB? Hello? Hello? Well, hi. You kinda found me in quite a sticky wicket here. You see, I was in this here garage since I was invited by JB, but ever since I arrived here, I never got to see him. He only told me to get the keys from under the rug and make myself at home. I thought he was away, hence the lack of cars in the garage. So I waited till I got bored, and before I knew it, I fell asleep. After that, I think you saw all of that. Now he wants me to spend his life savings, which he, oddly, put inside a shoebox inside of, you know, a bank. But whatever. He gave me the green light and I was here to drive cars. Boy, I hope he knew what he was doing and trusting his life savings to me like this. So, with JB's money, into the auction, I've gone. Inside the warehouse, I was presented with this ample choice of cars of Sunny's Lifisa 100 RS or 200 RS. While these are essentially the same model, only with a different trim, these cars did not come under similar conditions. This one has low oil pressure, turbocharged and has a manual transmission. The second one has little to no fuel. Same goes to the third one. The fourth one's vehicle identification number is scratched. Totally not suspicious at all. And the fifth one comes with a full tank. Already a promising candidate. The sixth one is cheaper, but it's 100 RS, low fuel and some stain on the headliner. There's no notable conditions on the 10th car, but it's an automatic. Ew. Looks like there was no other winner than the car number 5. And so, I've called it to the stand. Looks fine, and the car looks well maintained to me. It's turbocharged, and most importantly, it features a manual transmission. I spent all but 2,000 yen of JB's life savings into the car, and got it into the garage. Upon returning home, I noticed the car has bad oil in it, and decided to replace it with JB's supply. As I barely had any money left, there was nothing else I could do for the car at the moment, and there were no other way but to head outside. It's dark and no traffic in sight. Perfect, huh?
Hello, streets. Don't be afraid.
What the? Who are you? How did you get this number?
I believe your mutual associate was unpaid debts with my organization.
Huh? I don't know what.
Now you arrive here with nothing but an accidental garage with a fresh Sunmis Levisa.
It's not fresh if it makes it better.
You use that Sunmis Levisa to any bet what I'm owned. I hope you can drive.
Huh? Hey, hold on! I did not consent to any of this.
Don't skip down.
You are now in debt. Debt cash is only for betting. Repay your debt by winning races. If you lose this cash, your car will be taken as a payment. Holy shit. I drove off the garage with this new debt, of which I had zero consent of receiving. Damn it, JB. When I see your face, you have a lot to answer for. The phone directed me towards Tatsumi parking area, where I was supposed to grind money to pay the imposing man back. Well, I had no choice but to drive there as fast as I could. I stayed in the left lane, avoiding the myriad of trucks and sedans on the side. And after a short drive, I took the right on its conjunction and noticed the parking lot from the distance. I slowed the car down to properly enter the lot, in where I would meet the local street racers. Apparently, this area belongs to the G Company. I have no idea who or what is the G Company, but I think they mean business. In here, they follow a rep system. To earn them, you must win races. Should you lose a race, you would, of course, lose rep. I walked to the blue Nissan the Sunny's Levisa 1999, who is apparently owned by Daisuke, and called him up.
I wouldn't be seen dead in that piece of trash car. You're lucky it's a manual.
Okay, rude. At the very least, he appreciates the manual. like a true racer. This gentleman over here proposes a 330,000 yen wager for our race. After deciding it was an alright amount for my first race, I agreed. And so, into the race we both had gone. Apparently, the format of the race would be a drag race. In a best of 3, the first to reach 2 wins the wager and earn more rep. This young man, whose identity was concealed, would signal the start of the race. In drag races, we are given a chance to heat up our tires. And, as I was unfamiliar on how the handbrake of this car worked, I, kind of struggled and only got onto wheels to 53 degrees. I flashed my lights to signal that I was ready for the race. The guy threw his cigarette away. Good for him. And we anxiously awaited the flashlight to be lit, as that will be our equivalent of the green light. The light was on, and fortunately, Daisuke had a bad launch. Despite the wheel spin, I managed to outspeed Daisuke, weaved through the traffic, stayed on my lane to avoid the truck, and as I saw another truck was on my lane, I weaved again, and again, and again, until I was out of the tunnel. From that point on, it was a straight shot to the finish line, with no disturbances, and despite the car barely went over 200 kilometers an hour, I could feel the speed, and that kept me wary of my surroundings. I landed in the first place, recording a race time of 45 seconds, while Daisuke needed 3 minutes to crawl his way to the finish line. For all that talk, this is quite embarrassing, isn't it? Nah, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe I only won out of beginner's luck. Maybe on the second round, he'll show us his true skills. Unfortunate for him, if he were to take revenge on me, he would have to do better, as I managed to heat my tires all the way to 90 degrees Celsius. I flashed my headlights, the guy prepares to blitz his flashlight, and once again, Daisuke had a bad launch. Seriously, my man, you need to step up. I anticipated the pair of trucks before me and held my lane, but was fast enough to react to the third truck and move to the left. As there was also a truck on that lane, I returned to the middle, only to once again change my lanes to avoid yet another truck. Strange, this tunnel got busy all of a sudden, but this was not something that I could not anticipate. I remained on the left lane to avoid a couple more of these traffics, and weaved along as more waves of the traffic began to appear in different lanes, even outside of the tunnel. There were still obstacles that I had to go through. The last traffic car was dealt with quite easily, and it was a straight shot towards the finish line. Another round won in 45 seconds, and like before, it took 3 minutes for Daisuke to clear this short drag race. For someone who acts tough, you're actually the slowest out of the lot, aren't you? Fuming, seething, and embarrassed, Daisuke handed me my rightfully won money. It would be a large sum of cash, had I did not have to fork over 75% of my winnings to the actually imposing man's organization, which I'm certain is the Yakuza. The question is which one? I think it's an Omi man. Omi? Like the Omi Alliance? The largest Yakuza group in all of Japan? Omi Rengo, yeah. Omi Rengo. JB, when I catch you, JB. JB, when I catch you, JB. JB, when I catch you, JB, I will. Anyways, the race was won, and I was one.
You dirty racing scumbag, give me another chance.
Huh? Dirty racing? In where? You suck at launching and took 3 minutes to cross like what, 1 mile? Now he has the audacity to ask for a double or nothing. You know what? Fine, bring it on.
See you soon.
Yeah, see you real soon. Prepare your lunch money by the way, you f***ing nerd. 23 past 1 minute. We lined up once again to watch history repeats itself. I hung back a bit to hit my tires for a proper grip and flashed my headlights to signal the guy to start the race. This time, he immediately lit his flashlight. Upon launching, Daisuke seemed to have the upper hand, but I quickly overpowered his self-Livisa as I weaved past the truck. Another traffic avoided. I shifted up and avoided more traffic in the way. And before I knew it, I was at the 6th gear. I barreled down the tunnel with barely over 200 kilometers an hour. Avoided some more of the daily drivers, and right after I left the tunnel, I was on the final stretch to victory. And would you look at that? Another win. Second round, Daisuke boy. If you don't step up your game, it's all over for you. Like usual, I heated my tires up and rolled to the starting line. I signaled the guy to stop smoking and do his job already. Waited a bit and hit the gas. Again, Daisuke seemed to have the upper hand at first, but he was still nowhere fast enough to actually threaten me. I kept my eyes peeled to the traffic, weaved in between the trucks, and kept my top speed as I remained cautious of the multitudes of trucks that were on their way transporting goods. Don't wanna be a potter now, do I? Being a stock 240 200 RS, I get to keep the engine running at full capacity without risking it hitting too much and do the kaboom. With that security in mind, I kept on driving. I solely focused on the road and the road only, and scored yet another win. This time, I got sub 45 seconds, quite the personal best in my opinion, while Daisuke took almost 3 minutes to clear a simple drag route. Shamed, angry and frustrated, Daisuke rolled up to transfer my rightful winnings. 154 grand, not bad, and more importantly, I was one step closer towards being a free man. Apparently, there's this guy offering an instant travel towards the parking area for a little bit of multiplier. I thought nothing about it and accepted the deal.
Nice!
23:55. I'll say this screen patted my ego a bit, but it's still way too early to be a prideful man. I noticed there's another guy in the 100 RS. While he might do have some cash, my interest was on my boy Daisuke.
Only someone like you can drive that badly and still win.
I know I'm not hearing this from a dude that takes more than a minute to clear a drag round. What you got, buddy? 330k? Sure. On hindsight, I should have increased that by 10 grand so he can lose a grand total of 1 million tonight. 32 minutes past midnight. This time, it's a single sprint. No tire hitting, just pure, normal racing. I signaled the guy to do the one thing he was supposed to do. He waited a bit to flash his light, and once he did, off he had gone. This time, Daisuke managed to keep up with me for a little bit. But a little bit was all he had as I eventually, somehow, outpowered his Levisa in this stock, decrepit 200 RS. I stepped down the gas as I noticed there were no traffic to be in my way this time, and braked in time to take the left turn before me. I was still somehow too fast as sparks flew, a fruit of friction between my Levisa and the wall. Apparently, that turn had joined me in the main highway in where traffic was active. I kept my lane to avoid conflict with the trucks, changed lanes to the leftmost one in accordance to the race route, and almost hit the lane splitter before I was mandated to slow down to smoothly take the left turn. On this narrower section of the highway, I was quite surprised to find a bunch of trucks on the left lane. In response, I took to the right and made a point to not touch these trucks, as I believed they needed to be excluded from my business of robbing Daisuke, I mean teaching him to pick his enemies. I anticipated the slower cars before me and weaved accordingly, successfully avoiding accidents and ensured my lead was preserved all the way down the powerful section. This highway went on for quite a bit, where the real challenge was to avoid hitting traffic as you sped down the public roads like a possessed madman. I gave the office worker in the sudden a heart attack as I overtook the traffic, dodged more trucks and was on my way to victory. At that point, Daisuke was nowhere to be seen. I kept on my speed, avoided more trucks on the 2-lane section, and slowed down to properly take the penultimate corner. This time, the section was quite long and filled with traffic. Despite my opponent being a total pushover, I was unable to take it easy as these daily drivers posed an actual threat to both my run and indirectly my wallet. I thought I slowed down enough for the final corner. I still managed to make contact with the walls, and I was lucky the finish line was there. After the race, Daisuke was probably shaking and crying as he forked over yet another 330 grand to yours truly. 3 minutes and 16 seconds? He took almost 3 minutes to drag his car in a straight line, but barely over 3 minutes to cover a race this long? Well, okay. I accepted the stranger's offer to teleport me back to the parking area and thought it would be nice to have a proper duel with Daisuke once again. Come on, man, don't be a bitch. Pick up your phone. Come on. Pick up the phone, bitch boy. Damn it. Looks like Daisuke pussied out. Coward. Fine, be that way. Plenty of guys in fancy cars in the parking area anyway. Like this legally distinct Toyota Chaser, for example, owned by some guy named Haruto.
You've been winning too much. I'm here to fix that.
Funny, because to me, you're holding too much cash. Let's fix that instead, shall we? He was willing to throw almost $500,000 yen away for a chance to race me. I thought, what an honor, and accepted the offer. From the rep I gained, looks like the locals like that. 2:02. I signaled the guy to stop piling tar inside his lungs. He got his flashlight, waited a bit, and off he had gone. This time, I lost outright on launch. Haruto really got me good, but unfortunate for him, launching is just one aspect of highway racing. By the end of the second gear, I had enough grip on my rear tires to outpower the smuck upstart, slowed down to take the right turn, and managed the narrow corner as I weaved through several traffic. I eventually hit my top speed and still could weave through some more trucks, until suddenly, my brain decided to stop functioning, and I just barreled down to the truck on the left lane, making like zero efforts to save myself. I bumped the walls which had sealed my fate, and this happened. The crash had put me into a dead stop. I was only lucky Haruto was unable to use the opportunity to take first place. As if I had learned nothing from the accident, I decided to take the left lane in an attempt to overtake the truck before the gap between the walls and the truck became impossibly small for the car to go through. Lucky for me though, I was fast enough to make it just in time, and this maneuver had dropped me back in the competition. I stuck on the right lane to avoid a second accident and weaved to the left to avoid the truck on the lane. And as there were many more trucks in the right lane, I stuck to the left lane until a sudden, with a suspiciously striking resemblance towards Haruto's car, blocked the lane. As I raced down the route, I began to feel a slight sense of familiarity. Yes, this is the route you would use from the garage to Tatsumi parking area. I slowed the car down enough around the turning point to retain control of the Lifisa, as there also will be traffic to avoid while cornering. And would you look at that, despite that negligible impact, I still managed to score the win in the end. Haruto, who was most likely unhappy with me for his own shortcomings, pulled over and handed me over his lunch money. Thank you, my friend. Very cool. Beating him had given me 262k to my wallet, as well as putting me 360 grand less in crippling debt. Oh, a message. Let's see what it is. Huh. I don't care if you won. Someone paid me to lose. Sure, buddy. Whatever floats your boat, Haruto. You might need that since your car looks like one. As there were no offer to instantly go back to the parking area, I had no choice but to drive there. While doing so, I decided to try the immersive experience and use the first-person camera. You can hear the car differently from the inside. It is also quite dynamic in here, as I don't just statically look forward, but also slightly look at where you're turning, or supposed to turn. Kinda realistic. I like that. I went full speed, past JB's garage, down the active highway, raced down Tatsumi like a madman, made the right turn, and finally arrived at the parking area. 3:09. Who needs sleep when you can drive dangerously on the public highway? I think Daisuke probably will still lose out from a challenge. Notice the 100 RS guy next to Haruto. Of course, as I was in the mood of racing Haruto, I gave the man a call.
You look like easy money.
What? You literally just forked 480 grand to me not an hour ago. And once again, he proposed a 480k offer. But you know what? Not this time. I increased the bet to 500k, to which he accepted. And off it gone. Once again, we are sight. Hold on a sec. Boy's calling. What up, boy?
I fucked up and it's a bill site bed with cash I didn't have. I need your help.
That doesn't sound like my problem. Apparently, he tried to make it my problem by offering me 660 grand to throw the race, compared to the potential 500k I'd win from the race, minus step tax. From a financial standpoint, the plan is obvious. Again, Haruto beat my car flat upon launch, but that's all he got. I regained the lead, and unfortunate for Haruto, there was a truck on his lane, and this highway only has 2 lanes. I did what any respectable street racer will do given my circumstances, and left him for the dust. We are on an oncoming route in here. Very dangerous. So far, the traffic are making quite the pattern. Another truck was spotted on the right lane, momentarily breaking the pattern, before returning to the same old pattern with a truck from the left lane. In brief confusion, I was unsure on what to do, and instead of slowing down, I failed to anticipate. The nasty crash had left my car spinning. I adjusted the 200 RS back to the correct direction and resumed my race. Like last time, that crash was what Haruto needed to make a comeback. And funnily enough, just like the last time, the other lane was occupied with non-street racers, denying him the chance to retake victory. I sped off the public roads, once again leaving Haruto in the dust, and put all of my focus on making my way through the traffic before the right turn. I slowed down as I made my way to the left lane, barely avoiding the truck, and kept my car on that lane as I made my way down the road. I barely noticed the highway splitter and raced past the parking area as I rejoined the main highway. I noticed the other drivers and prepared myself for yet another session of dodging and weaving. I was very close towards the finish line, and I absolutely refused to let it all go to waste now. A couple of traffic hours later, I managed to win the wager, hurting both Haruto's pockets and Daisuke, who might not be able to pay his end of the wager. Sorry, Daisuke. But the streaks does not throw races. At this point, he might be a little furious with me, but hey, who told him to make bets with the money that he didn't have? This time, the result was a whopping 400 grand, a huge increase compared to my last race. Once again, Haruto left me an encouraging message that says, "Piece of shit, dirty racer." Are you kidding me? Instead of braking, you ran headfirst to the truck like an absolute buffoon. You wanna blame someone for that race? Blame the truck driver, motherfucker! While I was returning to the parking area, I noticed that the car was running out of fuel. It won't be funny if I ran out in the middle of the race now, will it? Before entering the parking area for the grind, I decided to refill the tank of this fine machine with the highest octane fuel available on the market. A small price to pay for fame and fortune. 451. I tried contacting Daisuke for obvious reasons, but looks like he's truly angry at me for presumably putting him deep in debt. You know, I got a bit bored of Haruto. Let's go for a one-make race with this guy here.
You'll make for a nice warm-up.
Apparently, he offers 20,000 less than Haruto, but fine. Let's do this. 528. And yet another one.
I have a large side bet against you.
F you, but okay. This time, the stranger offers 720 grand should I throw. Yet an even more appetizing offer. After a couple of light flashes, the guy drops his sig, builds up tension, and starts the race. From the wagers, I thought Keisuke would be slower in comparison to Haruto, yet his launch has proven me wrong. He can actually manage to hold that lead. Not for long though, as I perform a probably needed switchback on the rifling Leafisa. From the looks of it, we were entering a tunnel, which means tight roots and sharp corners. As I went through the tunnel's mouth, I braced myself. I avoided the wide right lane and instead went into the sharp right of the left lane. I hammered the gas down for a bit and correctly deduced my braking point for the corner. I went down to the fourth gear to keep my car under control, and would you look and behold, a truck on the left. On the speed, I could turn smoothly down the treacherous corner and managed to weave past the truck safely. Despite being dangerous, the tunnel was a welcome addition to the map, as it adds variety and authenticity. I kept my car on top speed as I overtook the slow trucks around me. As suggested by the map, I took the left lane for the left turn and slowed my car down considerably to anticipate traffic in my blind spot. As I went deeper down the tunnel, this place feels like it was getting tighter and tighter, which made me remain alerted to my surroundings. I made it past the divider and the truck and almost traded paint with the innocent sedan on the right lane. I was too focused on the traffic to the point that I forgot that I was going through another corner. Fortunately for me, this mistake didn't stop my race, and I recovered just in time to dodge the truck. After that, more traffic appeared, but dodging them was relatively easy. I slowed the car to properly take the corner and took a different lane to avoid causing another accident on the highways. I followed the signs to take the right lane just in time before the sedan would block my way. Looks like the finish line is just ahead. I kept my eyes peeled for more obstacles, but looks like there were none, as I had reached the finish line in first. You see, Keisuke, you thought of me as the warm-up, but little did you realize, I have warmed myself up with 5 different races before I decided that it was your turn to donate to the Streaks Fund. I am a few 100,000 yens richer, and is getting close to clearing my debt. Before I drive back to the parking area, Keisuke wanted to congratulate me via SMS. I wonder what did he have in mind. My handbrake was on the whole time. This don't count. You know what? Maybe he is right. Maybe that race didn't count. Except he still lost money from it, so get f***ed. Keisuke promised a challenge at first, but he failed to deliver at the end. Let's check out on what Haruto was up to.
You look like easy money.
Dude, you literally lost $1 million to me this night alone. You either are suffering from Alzheimer's disease or you are eyeballs deep in copium. Your choice. Which is it? I proposed a 500k wager, to which he had accepted. 7:06. Less than an hour before the night ends. Whatever decision I made from this point will have to be made quickly. Why, of course. Hello?
I have a much side bet against you.
840k? Alright, maybe we are onto something. Find out at the finish line, buddy. I told him to stop wasting our time, he dropped his cancer stick, and after a proper tension was built... There we go. Looks like Haruto is a bit tougher than before. Let's see how long will that last. This time though, I didn't have a completely free rein as the truck was waiting on my lane. but I have decided to outrun the legally distinct chaser then and there. It was a good thing Haruto still wasn't powerful enough to hold me back for very long. A couple of trucks later, I was mighty close to the corner. I used the signs plastered on the walls as signals to brake, and managed to appropriately slow my car down to retain control down the turn. There's only that sedan on the right, but it hardly mattered at that moment. I weaved past a couple of trucks and stuck to my lane to avoid the next set of traffic cars. I kept my pace down the long straights, and I thought I have moved out from the lane enough to avoid the truck. But unfortunately, I scratched the white truck, which caused quite a disorientation, and sideswiped the second one. If there was any solace in this accident, it's the fact that a crash didn't completely turn my Lefisa into a halt. While I was driving down the highway like a completely sane person, weaving through the slower cars as they slammed their horns in protest for, I don't know. I thought to myself, I've been doing nothing but winning this entire episode. Sure, there are moments where I messed up and almost jeopardized my run, but in the end, I still managed to win by a large margin. And I really haven't showed you the consequences of losing in Night Runners now, have I? As I raced down the highway, ignoring every street rules to ever exist, I considered such a question heavily. And after considering my options, here's what happened. Oh no! My legally distinct Sylvia! It cannot move! Clearly something must have been broken inside my car! Whatever am I going to do? Oh no! Here comes Haruto! He's gonna win! Oh no! Well, you win some, you lose some. Nothing to cry about. Let my boy have his moment under the spotlight for once. You did it, Haruto. You had the better car and you have more skills. That's right. You have finally managed to beat me in a totally fair and not rigged race. Enjoy your cash, my man. Don't waste it all in one place.
Good job. No one suspected a thing.
Yes. No one suspects a thing. Yeah, that guy over there totally didn't see a thing, my friend. I definitely did not stop right before the finish line to let that scrub won. Jokes aside, there was only 18 in-game minutes left before the night had ended. I decided to call it a day and go home. I decided that since I had become a millionaire in just one night, after coming in here with practically nothing, it was time for celebration. I started buying top-tier control arms, as well as brand new coilovers. Race differential? Yes please. And that would be all for now. Parts installed, and now time for a set of high-performance tires. And let's change the wheels. I gotta be honest here, these ones look awful. It'll fit one of those trucks, sure, but clearly not this car. This should work. And last but not least, the color. Nothing else would fit the Strix Mobile. And just like that, that was it for night 1. On this night alone, I have raked in almost 2 millions in cash, gained quite a reputation with the locals, and won 6 out of 7 races. I would say it was an amazing night, but I'll let the game decide. C+. Well, could be worse, but hey, I'll take it. While a good night, I still was not free from the clutches of the Omi Alliance. How fast will I break free from this crippling debt that, for the record, was forced upon me by JB's irresponsible actions? We shall see next time. You're still here? Does that mean you still got more time to spare? Do you want more entertainment? Sure you do. Good thing I got you covered.